How you doing? I'm good. I'm doing good. Now, I want to tell you a story. There was a certain man who was saved 2,000 years ago off his horse. Boom. He was a Pharisee chasing the followers of Jesus, trying to kill them. Trying to kill them. Okay? This man encountered Jesus on the road to Damascus. He was knocked off his horse by Jesus appearing as a ball of light. He said, "Who are you, Lord?" And he said, "I am Jesus whom thou persecutest." Why dost thou? It's hard for you to kick against the goads. Now, after this, he became blind, and Jesus sent a man called Ananias to baptize him. Ananias means grace. This was the message that Paul was to preach, that grace of God, which is different from the law of Moses. The transition from the Judaic law to the new way. And the followers of this way were called the followers of the way. They were not called Christians. Other people called them Christians. A Christian means people who look like Christ. A little Christ. Meaning, you do not call yourself a Christian. People call you a Christian. They say, if Christ was to live, he would look like that. In every way. In his authority, in his meekness, in his kindness, in his compassion, in his spirit of might, and all those different things. So that was the way. This new way was begun by Jesus, but in a short way. He didn't have time to teach. He came to die. He just taught the kingdom. He brought Paul to teach about the church, which is coming to an end now for 2,000 years. Before, when Jesus was teaching, he was like 33, 31, 32, 30 years old. He came in and he started saying stuff like, "Abraham saw my day," you know, and he was glad. And the Pharisees looked at him and said, "You're not even 50 years old and you're saying Abraham saw your day? How is that? How is that?" Because in in Israel, the older you were, you were expected to have the message. I think that comes from Moses' story. He was like 80. So it was weird when Jesus showed up. When John the Baptist showed up. Just some random guys. But Jesus could heal people. He would heal people in weird ways also. Anyway, so moving on. Now, this guy commissioned Paul the Apostle to teach his new message that would last for 2,000 years. It was meant to last for 2,000 years. There's this idea of the Jubilee, which is 50 years. It's a Israeli thingy. You can go look at it in the book of Leviticus. Yeah, it's 50 years, alright? 50 years, then you give the land rest. You stop farming and stuff, right? So it's 7 years, 7 years, 7 years, 7 years. 7 times 7 is 49. On the 50th year, you rest the land. Cool. So 50 times 40. 40 is the number of wilderness. The Israelites went through the wilderness with Moses for 40 years until the old generation died out because they were too close-minded. They minded like this. 1980, this was all supposed to happen. Jesus went through the wilderness, 40 years with the people. 2020, here we go. Pam. So, what was I saying? 40 years in the wilderness, around the same mountain. Pentecost, pour out your spirit, oh God. Pentecost. Then finally after 40 years, tabernacles. 40 times 50 is 2,000. 2,000 years. Paul was so hungry for this. He told them, this is the time you have to be teachers. You have to be teachers by now in Hebrews. For the time when you ought to be teachers, you still need someone to remind you of the old things that are so simple. He was teaching them over and over and over again, and they'll just come to him with reports. Oh, this person is gossiping against this person. This person is... They were minded of earthly things. They weren't looking forward. So Paul writes to the Hebrews. He wasn't called to the Jews. That means he was not writing to the Jews. He was writing to a spiritual people. Hebrews means those who have passed over. He's writing to the Christians. But in a figure. He didn't want the Christians to know. The Spirit of God didn't want the Christians to know. Paul wasn't called to the Hebrews. Peter, James, John called to the Hebrews, to the Jews, sorry. And Paul was called to the Gentiles, Paul and Barnabas. So he was writing to a spiritual people who he knew would be living in the last days. Alright? He writes to them, this is my final warning. I'm an apostle to you guys, to the church. He's saying this is my final warning. If you do not move on, you'll be crucifying the Lord afresh. You'll be like the Jews who denied Jesus when he appeared. He said that straight up. And no one listened. Because no one could understand. Ears they hear not. Eyes they see not. Because they don't obey, because they don't love. Loving is a simple key. When you become religious, you'll just become blind. That's why Paul was blind. Jesus had to whatever the scales from his eyes. So that was a new message. Now there's another new message, another way, because Jesus is a transformer. He's like a transformer. He changes. The message changes. Abraham, it was one thing. Moses, it was one thing. Paul, it was one thing. Then now it's another thing. So it's a refresher, something new. So here we are, people, on the cusp, on the brink of something new. Where will you fall? Pray and believe that you fall in the right way. We're persuaded of greater things concerning you, as Paul said. So, this is a new way. And let's hope it's fun. Bye.